Welcome to the Talkin' Shed Podcast with your host, Adam Finnick, where we talk all things farm equipment. Tune in as we interview farmers, industry leaders, and talk about our own dealership story. Follow along as we talk about topics like cover crops, nutrient placement, and things that make your farm and every farm across the country different. You're listening to the Talkin' Shed Podcast, and thank you for tuning in.
All right, guys, today we're recording another podcast. It's on site at the farm. Usually we do a lot of these either out on the road or in our back office, but today we've got Jeff Duling with us. Jeff, how are you?
Good.
Good. Today we're up in Ottowa. Would that be your address? Ottowa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're just out on the edge of it, and today it's August 15th. We're halfway through August. Of course, we have Cody with us as well, but we wanted to come up here and talk with Jeff. He got some equipment from us over the summer to do some pretty cool things that he's going to talk about. But overall, let's start here. You had some, everyone in the area had an interesting spring. It turned into an interesting summer, but we were just talking beforehand how things have really changed. What's everything like today in Ottowa?
Well, like I say, this spring we were wet. We did a lot of replanting, corn and soybeans. The guys that jumped on it in late April maybe are a little bit better off. I don't know. They hit the heat, though, with pollination on corn.
Right.
So, but I think it's not too bad. I didn't start till, May 10th with my first corn. Soybeans a little bit after that. Then the majority of it didn't get put in till June 5th, 6th, and 7th. In there, we did 300-400 acres of corn, quite a bit of beans, and then Mother Nature hit us again. 3-4 inches of rain, and this heavy clay, it didn't take it well. So we had to come back and spot in. It's June, I think about June 20th. You're sitting here looking, thinking, oh boy, what are we going to do?
It's getting late.
Usually we tear the fields up or spray them, kill them all off, start all over. But here we are, June 20th. I'm thinking, there's no way. I got an 80% stand. I'm just going to spot these holes in because I might get another rain and lose them again. So we spotted. Usually I don't do that, but right now things look pretty good. It's just the last corn here. The June 21st corn is pollinating right now. It's coming in tassel. I'm going to eventually, Wednesday, I'm going out and putting fungicide on and some foliar feed just to hopefully help it out. I mean, it's got 16 rows around, 18 rows around. It's there, long years, so we have potential. It's just going to take a late fall. So.
Yep. Yeah, the last week or so, it's been pretty cool.
Yep.
We've got some moisture. We couldn't ask for a better start to August so far. And if things hold through, there'll be some corn out there for us.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I hope this stuff continues. Our county fair is going on right now, so we're guaranteed to get at least another inch yet this week. Let's go back and talk about Duling Family Farms, when it started, how it's changed, and where it's at today.
Okay. Dad, I think they bought this home place here in 64. They got married that year, Mom and Dad did. Mom and Dad are 80 years old right now, so Dad's still here, Mom's still here. I'm surprised they ain't out here yet visiting us, but keep track of me. Mom and Dad had 4 boys. We were all together in the farming as it came up through the years. Had hogs. We've had hogs forever. Brought on some cattle here. Got out of that for a while. Back in her now. Still got me and my wife are contract with the hogs, local feed mill up here, Glenner Feed.
Yep.
So we use a lot of manure as fertilizer. Buy some commercial yet, but then when was it? About in the 90s, Dad decided it was time for him to back away. So I kind of took over. I was still working at a fertilizer plant. Had 19 years in there. Went work there, tried to work at and the farm. My brothers were still involved. And then exactly about 10 years ago, I retired from the fertilizer plant and went full-time farming. And then 2015 hit, and that was the worst year we could ever had. We farmed in 3 counties, had a disaster everywhere, just too wet. So I went to my brothers and said, we got to ante up some money here. And it wasn't going over so good.
Yep.
So we hung right in there for a few more years, and then finally, about 3 years ago, I bought my brothers all out. So now it's me and my wife, and now I have a son coming up. He's 26, 27 years old. He still works off the farm, but he bought his own farm. Him and his wife did. So we're going at it. Hopefully, we picked up some more ground. He's renting with me. So I own the equipment, the operation here, and he's potentially going to, hopefully he can keep buying some ground and keep climbing. So my intention, hopefully, I don't know where he's heading, but maybe he'll retire from his job and maybe can be full-time farming too. I have 2 daughters. One's a first grade teacher here at Ottowa, and the oldest daughter, she's a surgical nurse at Lima, so she's married. This January, I'm going to have 2 little babies coming. Grandkids, so I'm
awesome.
Pretty excited. So yeah, it's time for me to start slowing down, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Sounds like you have enough going on.
Yeah.
So you farm in 3 counties. For the local people in Ohio, what counties would that be?
Putnam County is our major the county that we reside in. We go to Van Wert and Hancock.
Okay.
And then actually my uncle has some ground in Wood County that I help him with. So
okay. Sure.
Hopefully someday when he retires, maybe we'll farm that too. But
sure.
I do his spraying and everything for him. So.
In mainly corn and soybeans?
Corn, soybeans, and wheat.
Do some wheat too?
Yes. Yep.
Sure.
And then everything tries to get cover crops on it, 100% cover crops in the fall. And that's how I guess we'll get into that point when I got involved with you guys. So the next step. So.
Right. And we might as well jump in there. In Ohio, they've got several programs for cover crops and nutrient placement and stuff like that. What we do, of course, here at Fenny Equipment is that stuff. So Jeff called, I don't know, it was maybe a year ago we maybe started the conversation.
Probably. Yep.
Brainstormed on what may or may not happen, and we talked, and then he reached out again. He wanted an interseeder bar that could do a lot of different things. And he wanted to be able to put down nitrogen, wanted to be able to put down cover crops. He wanted an offset hitch to where he could go down in standing crop, but then also place a variety of things in or on top of the row when there's not a standing crop there, maybe in the fall or the spring when there's not a crop in there again. So it took a lot of thinking and a lot,
yes, it did.
a lot of planning out, but he knew in his mind what he wanted. And we put the shop guys to the test and told them that they had to do it this way and make a few things different. But today, we've got an S2S toolbar with a Valmar cover crop seeder on it. And walk us through your idea on that whole bar, what you want it to do, what you've done with it already, and everything.
Okay. Well, number one was I wanted to be able to go down the road. I wanted to, because farming in this many counties, you're going down the road a lot. I think from Hoytville down to Van Wert, it's 50 miles. So
okay.
A lot of mailboxes.
Yes.
My pet peeve is mailboxes. I don't like mailboxes. But so anyways, I wanted to be narrow. That was the number one, because my planters John Deere planters are narrow. I can go down the road, stay between the lines. Yep. So that was number one. Number one was I wanted to be 16 rows, because I plant corn 16 rows. So I wanted to be able to use my guidance, make it easier.
Yep.
And I was experimenting with interseeding here. This will be my 3rd year. I started out with a gator with a little spreader on the back, did 32 acres. I was very impressed. That corn that year did 263 bushel an acre.
Yep.
With people say that ain't gonna work. Well, that was my best corn. So there's something. So that kind of pushed me along. And last year, I used a spreader from the fertilizer plant, 30-inch row spreader. I did about 500 acres. I jumped in, went from 32 acres to 500 acres. Right now, I'm all in.
Wow.
I was impressed, and it worked. Last year, I used 100 pounds of ammonium sulfate as a carrier.
Okay.
With my 12 pounds of annual rye, a couple pounds of rape, a couple pounds of radishes. Had an excellent. I was really impressed. The only problem was I could only go about 30 feet, 28 feet, somewhere in there. I wasn't getting the annual rye out there far enough.
Yep.
And then when it come this spring, I could really see where the spreader went. It was that 5-6 foot behind the spreader was really green. out there further wasn't so good. We didn't have an even, so I wanted to be able to get this annual rye as the width of the planter, so 40 feet. So that's where this idea came in, getting your toolbar. That's when I talked to you guys. And then I'd still do strip till yet too. I'm trying to get 100% plant and green with corn. I'm just not there yet. Certain ground it takes time. You got to get it in shape.
Right.
We're doing drainage work. We use a lot of hog manure, cattle manure, so we have to do some tillage. So, but anyways, I do use an 8-row Remlinger strip till bar. That's all I can pull, because the biggest tractor I got is 310 horse. I was pulling a 12-row strip till bar with a bigger 4-wheeler. I got rid of that stuff. Just now I use this 8-row. We got RTK, so it works great. So I wanted to be able to interseed in the spring into V4 corn. I wide drop all my corn with my John Deere sprayer. So I'm thinking I do that about 2 week after I'm interseeding. I'm thinking, well, heck, why don't I just save another pass? Let's pull a tank behind this toolbar and put in wide drop. I like the wide drop system, putting that corn right next to the row. So you guys incorporated that in. That was awesome. Worked great. Then I'm thinking, well, okay, I got ground here. I'm not really strip tilling it. I don't want to really strip till anymore, but I'm not quite there planting green. I want to put cover crop out after soybeans are off. So then I'm thinking, well, we got your S2 bar here, the row cleaners. We can incorporate a little, still run 16 rows. So that's why I went with the offset hitch. I'm thinking, well, we got to have that option. We put a hitch out the back in case we want to put dry fertilizer on. It's all there, just in case. So I thought, okay, that'll work. We'll try that out. So that's why I got it in front of the shop right now. We're going to get it calibrated here, do some wheat stubble, try that. But then in the spring, with my regular strip till, it's rough. It's still cloddy. You can't plant 4 or 5 mile an hour with that. So you always have to tickle it with an accelerator or some kind of tool. I'm thinking the accelerator's 30 feet. It's heavy. I don't like going out there in the spring doing a spring tillage. Then I thought, well, heck, we can still use this rig. It's lighter, 3-point. It's on RTK. We'll just use them, set the row cleaners, maybe your little disc. It'll tickle that strip till. Make that a fresh seed bed. So that's the idea behind that. So I'm going to spend some money here. I'm tight. I'm a farmer. I want to get every option out of this I can. And I think we got about a 5-way toolbar here.
Yeah. So. It's really built and designed to do so many things.
Exactly.
I've built some toolbars similar to this one, but it was a one-way road. It was an interseeder bar.
Yep.
I think the addition of our triple threat system to do the Y dropping with, that's an awesome deal there.
Yep.
And you say that worked pretty well for you.
Oh, yeah, it did. Yep. While you were out this spring, we actually converted the corn planter, because a lot of this, we should back up too. A lot of this is on them programs. I am in the H2 Ohio program. I'm a big supporter of it. I was on the committee that set up some of the, we didn't get everything we wanted, but I think we're on the right track. And I do believe we have to get these cover crops started sooner. So that was the whole idea behind this interseeding, because like last year, I didn't get my corn head on until November 4th. Mm-hmm. Well, we're past the time frame for getting paid on the I don't care. I'm going to put cover crop out no matter what. It's just going to be later, but I feel getting it out earlier is better. So that was the goal with this H2 Ohio program, getting another option, getting stuff done sooner. So that was a big idea there.
And for the folks that aren't in Ohio or local, what all does the H2 Ohio program cover?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I should have had this.
Or the gist of it.
Well, you got to have the key to unlock the whole system is you got to have a nutrient management plan. You got a soil sample, and I'm a big supporter of grid sampling, because you can drive any farm around here. We've all had hogs, chickens, cattle over 50, 60 years. Every house lot around here, there's a hot spot out there, 50, 100 feet off from the barn, because every Saturday morning that was the job. You had to go out and clean pens. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't fit or not, you still had to get rid of that manure. So, and I know that. And a normal soil sample don't pick all that up. So a grid sampling is the answer. You got to do it in a 2.5, 5 acre grid, and you got to find them spots, and then you don't put no fertilizer on them spots. So that's number one. You got to have a nutrient management plan, and you got to know what you're going to do for the next couple of years. Some guys frown on that. I know what Mother Nature changes things, but it's easy. It's not wrote in stone. We can change.
Right.
Then you can do variable rate. You get paid for variable rate. You got to incorporate it. You can't spread this. We get paid for cover crops. It covers the cost of cover crop. It doesn't pay for a toolbar, but it sure helps.
Right.
Like I said, I was going to do it no matter what. I believe in it wholeheartedly. So, manure. I was a big proponent of the manure. There is a lot of manure around here. I mean, to get it further away, we're paying you to truck it. Like the mine, I got 3-4 semis running manure down the road to get it away from my hog coops, putting it where it needs to be. So that payment really helps on that. So it's not going to make it rich. No, it's just to cover some costs, and it's helping you and me like this implement some new practices out there. So yeah, it's a very good program.
Some ideas that you've maybe always had.
Yes.
But maybe both financially.
Yes.
And just within yourself, it gives a little bit more motivation to get that stuff done.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's been a solid program in Ohio. I know a lot of farmers jumping on it.
Yep.
And for those of you outside of Ohio, I know there's a lot of information online too for it.
Right. Yeah, it's a voluntary program. I get to hear that it's a lot of paperwork. Yes, it is. But I sit and do a lot of paperwork all the time. But I just come back from Chesapeake Bay, and them guys, it's not voluntary no more. They got to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And there's no fertilizer spread in the fall. March 15th is the earliest they think about it. So, like I tell Ohio farmers here, get ready. At least there's guys out there fighting to make it easier, try to make it easier for you, but it just depends on what happens in the future here. We could be on that road, so.
Right.
Yeah.
What's it like out there at Chesapeake Bay? I mean, farmers, are they really maybe upset about that?
No,
or are they
know there's a problem. I actually didn't even make it to Chesapeake Bay. We visited one particular farmer. It was 13,000 acres. He's got everything. He's got 4 corn planters, all on 60 feet bean planters. But come March, he said everything's green. I was impressed. Everything, 13,000 acres, all got cover crops.
Wow.
And he plants it all green. So he made the leap. He's, but the thing I was more interested in, he had the crimpers right on the planter, and he's putting corn starter on. I'm like me with my John Deere. I got that row starter up front. He eliminated that and went with the conceal.
Yep.
He isn't too happy with it. Yeah, he's trying to figure that out, but they got stone and it's wearing too much. But yeah, he crimps that rye down, and he had beautiful crops. But yeah, 13,000 acres right there. He was only 300 yards from the Chesapeake Bay, so he was in there. But yeah, they're all taking it well. They know it has to be done. There's a problem, just like we have it here at the lake. And, us farmers are going to step up. You know, we're not all the problem, but we will. If you tell us what we got to do, we'll try to do it. So,
right.
And that's the way they are over there. So.
Yep.
And they're getting a little more money for cover crops. I think that idea. I like the idea. What they were getting like $70 an acre for cover crops. So it's well worth it. It covers their costs. Mm-hmm. So
right.
Maybe I get up the ladder here. Hopefully somebody hears this and says, "Okay, Jeff Duling says we need more money." So
sure. Right.
So.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And so what all did you use this bar for so far? Today's August. You got it. What?
Probably.
I don't remember.
I actually didn't get a couple cornfield. Oh, I didn't get my very first corn. The one I planted, I didn't get that. It was too tall. So I wide dropped that. So I have no cover crop on that. And then that was 30 acres I didn't get done. Then I had an 240 acre fields. I got half them done with cover crop. I didn't get them wide drop. I didn't use the wide drop system on yours. I had them wide drop before. I'm intending to come back in. Got a local guy that's found a Hagee or a Miller to come in. We're going to put rye on that field. So then the 80, I got a 45 acre field and a 35 acre field. I went in and did half with the toolbar, half of it with cover crops. Did the outside rounds and then stopped. I thought we're going to try the Hagee, or if I don't get the Hagee in here with the cover crop, I'll come in after corn, sow rye. So we'll have a test plot there,
Sure.
my annual rye versus my cereal rye. We'll see how the beans are do there. But then from then on, I did all the rest of the corn. It's all been interseeded. My ratio was about, I try to keep it at a $20 investment, because most guys say, well, tillage costs them $20 to $25. So I try to keep my cover crops at 20 in that area. I am in the H2O program, so I make it so it fits their overwintering cover crop, so I get paid on that. This year they gave us a $10 bonus for interseeding, so I get an extra $10 this year, so I'll get $35 an acre. But anyways, I did all the rest of the acres are that way with 28 on. Now when I wide drop versus when I used to use a coulter, I put on 50 gallon, of 28. I use this year I did 5 gallon of 1034 row with 15 gallon of 28 in the row, 2x2 on my planter. No variable rate, just a broadcat. Everything's like that. I'll variable where I need manure or need more phosphate. That's where my manure goes. We try to look at our grid samples that way. But anyways, then I come back in and I put on about 40 to 45 gallon of 28 with your toolbar. So that's done. We're all done with corn. Now I took when you guys, one time I think I talked to you, I took the row cleaners off because I have a lot of corn planted in the annual rye, and I was grabbing, the row cleaners were grabbing, I couldn't get them up high enough, and they were grabbing that rye around that corn and yanking my corn. So I took the row cleaners off this spring, which made it lighter too, the 3-point. Now I've got it back in front of the shop here. I'm putting the row cleaners back on, and we're going to experiment with some wheat stubble, strip till on that, just to get it set up. And also I do some of my wheat gets frost seeded with red clover, 10 to 12 pounds. We'll bale that for the cattle, but I got some thin spots, and I thought, well, I got a couple bag of red clover left over. I'm going to calibrate. It's pretty easy to calibrate this. I was kind of impressed how easy it is to get calibrated for the seed. There is some tricks. I got a shop vac sitting there. It sucks up the seed while I'm running that, because the way with all of our 28 lines and everything, it was kind of hard to get a pan underneath there. And I thought, so I started looking at it. Heck, I can just have a little light. I just had like a sheet of metal, and then the shop back there sucking the seed up, and then I just dumped the seed, and that's how I weighed out. But so yeah, we're going to try to get it calibrated here for some red clover. And I was telling Cody here earlier that this next spring, instead of using my gator with the little ATV spreader spreading 25 feet, if it's fit to bring the tractor and everything in the wheat field, I might just use this to put my red clover on. Then it's 40 feet and it's even. I don't have to worry about wind either. So So yeah, I've just figured out another practice for this toolbar.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Yep.
And when do you typically put that
red clover
Yes.
on? In the early April.
Yeah.
Into May or into March, April. Seems like every year we wait a little longer the way our seasons are, but yeah, it's about right after top dressing.
Okay.
Because a lot of guys do put their red clover in with their urea around here.
Right.
So, but I use 28. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, how tall is that stuff usually whenever you cut the wheat?
Oh, it's 4 to 5 inches tall.
Yeah.
Depends on what. Like this year we had some moisture. It was up there, thin spots, but. No, we never had. I mean, it's a pretty popular thing around this neighborhood.
Yeah,
here,
I've heard of a lot of guys doing that.
Yep.
Now,
and then I'll strip till that. And if I don't keep it for seed, usually we'll harvest a field for seed. For the following year, we got my neighbors or my cousins down the road here clean the seed, the red clover seed. They're very good at it. So either that, we'll keep it for seed, or we bale it for hay. But then that year that it goes, the following year I'll go to corn. I'll usually strip till the red clover. Just because it's today, I shouldn't say I got a field right next door here. We did plant green right into it, but it seems like it's better strip tilling.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I can see that could be a little hairy planting into that.
Yeah, it can a lot of crack. Red clover does dry the soil out. It penetrate them. The roots get down there. It does a good tillage thing there, but
yeah.
So,
when you do the red clover, are you able to harvest bale the straw?
yes.
Yeah.
I don't like to put it in windrows because that chaff and that will kind of if it gets wet, it'll kill that red clover off, or even the volunteer wheat. Because I don't care how you set a machine up, you still got volunteer wheat. So we've done it where we spread it like 15, 18 feet out, and then we'll rake the straw back in, and then, because we'd like to see our straw get rained on one time at least, to get the shininess off.
Yes.
It's not for horses here, it's for cattle and sucking up moisture. So so it seems like once it gets rained on, it's a little better. So yeah, we'll throw it out and then let it get rained on and rake it up. And so, but this year I think we did put it in the windrow because the baler was coming. So, but just last week I sprayed clover fields with grass herbicide just to kill the volunteer weed off. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So then, when will you cut and bale the clover?
You could take a stubble cutting this fall. Some guys do that. Usually I like to just let it go, and then next June take a cutting off. You usually take a cutting, bale it, and then you'll let that grow out, and that's when you take the seed off in September, October. Yep. So, and then we'll put it to corn the following year. So
cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So you got, what does the or let me back up. This spring, summer, when you interseeded with the S2S bar, what did you seed?
We used about, I think it was like a 16, 17 pound mixture, annual rye. A lot of guys are scared of annual rye. I've had great luck with it. I mean, they're worried about killing it.
Right. Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, it's not hard to kill. You just gotta have the temperature in your favor. And you can't try to put the whole kitchen sink in the sprayer. You can't have your atrazine, I just go out. So I should back up. Okay, we'll go tell you what I'm putting out. I'm putting rape, 2 pounds of rape, 2 pounds I tried sun hemp this year. I like sun hemp's pretty, and it's got a pretty flower. Some's got some crimson clover. I got some radish, a couple pounds of radish. And then the annual rye, 12 to 10 pound ratio in there somewhere. I did try it a couple, just some wheat, because I'm looking for another couple things. I threw some oats in another field, just blended in. So I got some different fields, just trying different things. See what I can get that'll live through the winter here. But then next spring, see this is all corn stalks. This will all go to beans. So my number one plan, or plan A, is I come in, I spray, because we're Roundup. We use Plenish beans here, Enlist beans, whatever program, but the Plenish fields, it's just Roundup tolerant. So I got water hemp here pretty bad, but I'll go out and I spray right before planting. That was probably in April there, end of April. I sprayed a pint of 2,4-D in my Sonic. Okay, put that down. Then we waited till planting. Didn't do nothing. We planted, which I'm glad I did. I waited as long as possible because it was, into May, June when we're planting these bean fields. So then we come back in and I put, then I spray my Boundary and my Roundup. But I have to wait. Like I said, it's got to be warm out. It's got to be 70, 80 degrees, and you can't it's got to be over 50 degrees every night for a couple nights. And then the annual rye was in seed. It was. I couldn't, but it killed it. I put a heavy Roundup on, and it kills it. So now I think the cornfield out here, I had tried some annual rye in front of corn, and that was in seed. And actually, there's a pretty good stand of annual rye out there besides what I spread on. So
really,
we'll see what. But we got plenty of moisture out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not too scared. But
right.
So.
And I hear a lot of guys say that maybe you need to let that annual rye grow so that there's a lot more.
Yep, it's got to be, what's it saying, got to mow your lawn 3 times before you want to kill it? Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Because if it's too short,
the
majority of the plant's below the ground, right?
Yep, there's a lot of roots with annual rye.
Yeah,
yep.
So obviously your spray's not getting down there to the roots. You got to get it to where your herbicide is going to have enough plant to work with to shut that plant down.
Yep.
Cool. So you did. You seeded that, and then you're going to plant beans into that.
Correct.
Next spring.
Yep.
And because you did it in rows, you're going to plant do you do 30-inch beans or
15s?
15s. But
the way your spreader, it incorporated this year. We had enough moisture. It's got the whole 30 inches.
I was wondering about that.
You got a 12-inch. Where it works it.
Yes.
But I can find seed all the way across.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had enough moisture to get everything incorporated, but so
I was wondering with the amount of rain that you
Yeah,
had,
yeah.
how that would look. So
Yep.
it's pretty well a blanket out
Yep.
there. So you're going to go in there and plant all your soybeans into that
Yep.
15-inch rows.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What population usually doing your soybeans?
We're variable rate. We'll run anywhere from 120,000 to 225,000.
Okay.
We go by past yield maps and look at where, because you got compaction areas, driveways, that's getting a higher rate because you can just where you don't get the seed, the bushels there.
Germination.
Yep. So, and we're experimenting with that. So,
I see.
like right across the road, you remember 140,000. Good stand. I'm tickled with them. So, I mean, a lot of guys in this area are not that low. There's a lot of 180 to 200,000 plus out here. So,
Right.
but so
Yeah, 170 plus is pretty common.
Yeah. Yep.
But I do think there's some opportunity there for lower population
Yeah.
beans.
Yep. I did variable rate on corn for a couple of years, and I just never seen never paid. I mean, I just didn't see it. So now I just planted 36,000 across
Sure.
the board. So, but yeah, beans I believe in the variable rate. So
Okay.
it's working out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could see it especially in some clay and some tougher
Yep.
soils where
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
tougher it gets, the better that pays.
Right. And I was running an air seeder, John Deere air seeder. I still got that. That was another thing that happened. This year we went with a John Deere bean planter, 15-inch bean planter. It's got variable rate on it. That rig has the seed plates for cereal rye. So if we don't use this toolbar, that'll be running cereal rye. My air seeder will be on wheat. That was always a problem because you hated to be mixing or sweeping things out. So we'd always run our wheat fields first, plant wheat. And then we'd, go right into cereal rye. Well, we had fields that were sitting there for 2 weeks, didn't have no cereal rye. Now we can have 2 rigs running, or actually, like say 3.
Right.
If I get this toolbar where I want it. I am going to do some plant green corn into cereal rye again. I like it. I got to know which fields I can do it, that
Right.
work on. So the
Kinda
better soils. Yep.
Pick and choose.
Yes. Yep.
This fall with soybeans and stuff, everything being planted a little bit later.
Right.
What do you think about going to wheat? What's your date for planting wheat that you pull the plug and stuff?
Last year we was right up into November and it didn't pay. Actually, some of that was our worst wheat, but I have Liebrick's neighbors. They're crowning these fields right because it's new ground. We just took it on. I got them out there. We took the weed off. Did not do very good, which we knew it wasn't because it's got a lot of dead spot or a lot of furries, water holes. So we did some tillage. They put the manure on. They're coming in. They're crowning them, putting them on grade. So I'm looking at that 70 acres that they're doing right now. I'm thinking, well, maybe that might go back to wheat because the fields right in that neighborhood, them beans didn't get planted till June 21st. So
Right.
I know they're not going to be off in time. So
Right.
if we want to have some wheat, it's going to be them couple fields that got land planed and put them to wheat. So
Yeah,
that's my
ideally.
intention.
Ideally, you'd probably like to have that wheat out there by October 15th.
On that ground, it should be it's going to be fly free day, September 25th, because it's tough, heavy mud. It's Paulding clay, and the better you can get it started, and the better off you are. So,
Yep.
So yeah.
What all kind of treatments are you doing on your wheat?
Oh, we do. It's a fungicide, and I don't know what they use something that helps it come up fast too, and I'm pretty impressed with it. But yeah, it's treated. My beans are all treated for fungicide. We're getting away from the insecticide on the soybean treat because of slug issues around here. So this is the first year we got away from the insecticide on the seed treat. But we
Okay.
still need it for Phytophthora.
Yep.
We don't plant naked seed. Corn, it's just I still run insecticide on the corn yet, but I know Pioneer, we get our seed from Pioneer. I know they sell it without insecticide. You can get it, but so far I haven't got to. I'm still experimenting there yet. So
Sure. And on your wheat, what are you putting out in the fall ahead of planting that wheat? Anything at all?
No.
Just top dress it in the spring.
Well, we do use a starter. Correct. You're allowed to put a starter out there. So we put a little bit of phosphate, a lot of ammonium sulfate, sulfur
Yeah.
All of our soil samples call for sulfur around here, so we use a lot of sulfur.
Yeah.
All my beans get a couple treatments of foliar feed with sulfur. My corn gets a couple foliar feeds of sulfur too and nitrogen. So
Yeah. A lot of times they'll say use that together.
And I do foliar feed to wheat too in the spring with some 28 and sulfur. So it's proven to pay. So
yeah. On the livestock and manure, how does that play into your operation in the fall? You know, you got the harvest done. You know, you're working on planting your wheat, maybe doing some strip tilling.
Yep.
When are you getting all that manure hauled?
I used to have a rig. I sold it to Glenn Arnold. He's using it for an extension aid. You see it out and about. It's got the Dietrich plow, and I loved it. It was a great rig. I used that for strip till.
Okay.
I put my manure in strips. It's only a 5-row, but with the RTK, it didn't matter. But he ended up buying that because he needed it for test plots and that. So that's what he did. Now I got a guy from Lipsick over here, Jamie Otto. He's got a 7,000 gallon triaxle noon. He's got the semis. I have semis. I just don't have enough manpower.
Right.
You know? Like I say, we concentrate on harvest, and that's it. When I call him and the bean fields are ready, you know, he come in after wheat, got all my pits empty, worked out great. Then we'll try to get pumped again here this fall. As soon as I can get the first or second wheat bean field off that isn't going to wheat, he'll come in and put that on. He's got 2 different applicators. He's got a chisel and he's got a grassland toolbar.
Okay.
I am trying to find a strip till toolbar for him that I would buy and then put on his rig, because he could use my RTK then, and he could that'd be a way to strip till and use the manure that way. So we're looking at that option yet. So
I see.
But yeah, I can't get everything done. So and I never told you, we're in the drainage industry. We put a lot of tile in too on the side. So we're busy putting tile in the ground too. So I just made up the mind. I just hire the manure done and let him take care of it. So
just got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, anything to make a buck. So
yeah. So this toolbar allows you to kind of fix the puzzle that you had. It solved the problem of, before it was, well, maybe this year I'll get my cover crops on, maybe I won't.
Right.
Now it's like, I will.
Yep.
And it's allowed you to do that.
Yep.
I've got plenty of videos and stuff of similar tools, and we'll shoot some today while we're here, and later on Cody and I may find some fields with some stuff growing in them. Mm-hmm. But for those of you that don't know, it's got our S2S unit on it. It's the parallel linkage unit with the colders that are designed to incorporate the seed, and then it's got a Valmar cover crop seeder on it. The toolbar, what's that thing transport at? I don't even remember. Is it 15, 16?
It's 16.5.
16.5. Okay. Yeah. So it's not ultra narrow. It's not a John Deere 1790 or 1770 NT, but it's also not 22 feet wide.
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
You got the lights out on the side. I've been up and down the road with it many a times, and it worked great.
Good.
I could come all the way back I drove it home from you guys.
Yeah,
that's right.
So took me a 3-hour trip.
Yeah, I was going to say, just in a truck, it's hour and 10.
Yep.
Yeah, we built the bar, and then we were kind of like, well, how are we going to get it home? And we had the forklifts and stuff to lift it, but that's some big forklifts.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, I'll just drive the tractor down. And so I don't know what time you left that morning, but
it was 6:00 that morning, and I think I was down there by 9:30. I know it was
a good time.
You guys are you were open already, I think. So maybe I left a little sooner, but anyways, I brought that because I pulled the 28 tank home too.
Right.
I'm glad I went down there with the tractor and everything up because it took a little bit to get everything hooked up right and everything. So got the monitors in. We have a scales on here. I just got the scale head laying in there. I mean, it was nice to have the scales.
Yes.
It helped me out knowing. But once you got it calibrated, like I say, it was pretty accurate. So, but no, a scale. I think the scales is worth it. So.
Yeah. The rate controller that's built into there has got an awesome calibration wizard.
Yep.
Basically, like you mentioned earlier, you tell it a weight to spit out, and it will attempt to do so, and it'll likely be wrong the first time.
Correct.
And you just correct it, and it corrects itself. And you kind of keep doing that. And usually by about the third time, you'll be right on. And it's pretty dang accurate.
Yep. The only thing we had is them whisker switches. I got to figure them out a little bit. But I use a John Deere 2630, so when you put it down, it was painting me a picture and everything. So that was one whisker switch I could eliminate. It was the other one on the 28 is the one but I using the manual switch. Just something you had to. We'll figure that out.
The whisker switch on the Raven controller.
Yep.
It might be wired differently than the.
Because we were trying to mount them on a 3-point, and that just don't work. And then I had taller corn. She was knocking it off, so
turn it off on you.
Yep. So.
Yeah. And those units have got hydraulic down pressure on them, which I doubt you really needed a whole lot of pressure this spring.
But we did. I put them on. Well, it got dry there for a while, and because there was areas I wasn't getting the tillage that I thought I was, getting it worked in. So I had to get them a little bit more. Then I think I took the packer wheel off. I left them because they were holding me up. So I left them just bouncing a little bit. But like I say. But we got the rains and everything and got a tremendous stand out there. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, it tackled your cover crop issue, and you've got them outgrowing there now, and so it'll be really interesting to see what it looks like this spring and this fall. Whenever harvest comes, and then when you're putting soybeans back into it this spring. But on the harvest side, you harvest with a Deere 8-row, I'm guessing?
8-row, yep. John Deere 8-row, 9770. I got the older combine yet, run a grain cart. We try to do as much controlled traffic, no trucks come in the field.
Okay.
Everything stays on the road, or in the lanes, whatever we got. So, I'm trying not, like I say, we're trying to be 100% no-till here, so we don't, I don't want to mess these fields up. So,
yeah, you've worked really hard to get them in shape.
And that's the reason why we didn't start shelling corn already last year. It was November 4th. But then, in turn, I didn't mention we work with another farmer from Glandorf here, family, harvest together. They have their own combine, but we share a grain dryer right here at this setup.
Okay.
They have actually a grain bin sitting here on my farm, too, that we blow corn into. So we share trucks. We got 6 semis that run. So, and their fields were a little more fit than mine was and then since I had the cover crop on already, I thought, heck, I might as well just let them dry a little bit more. Or they had to get theirs off yet and still put their cereal rye because they're big into cereal rye too. So we work together, and like I say, we're in the drainage business together, so it works out. So,
sure.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, up here being in the drainage business, I'm sure it keeps you busy.
Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of waiting list up here. I didn't think we'd ever see a waiting list, but I think we got a waiting list too now. So
really,
yeah. So some of these guys are 2 years out, and
holy cow.
So it's either that or you buy your own tile plow.
Wow.
There's a lot of them around here. So yeah. Yep.
Wow. Alrighty. Well, it's a lot of interesting and good stuff that we're talking about. I think, and the beauty of this bar, and the thing I want everyone to be clear, we didn't really come up with anything. Jeff came to us with a plan. We sat down, we tweaked it a little bit, and we built what he wanted.
Yep.
I say it all the time, everything we talk about or what we do or what we've learned, it comes from farmers.
Right.
And they're the boots on the ground. They run into issues, and we try to help solve them. So Jeff came to us with a problem. He had it all laid out. We had the unit, and we just made what he asked for, and I think it turned out pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, you guys, the offsetting the hitch, making it so I can offset the hitch 15 inches just in case I need to do that. We put a double hitch out the back in case I want to pull a fertilizer cart in the fall.
Yep.
So that was another option that, I wanted to be able to do. Like I said, I wanted that strip freshener. I had all these ideas in my head. I'm just not the engineer. So sitting down with you guys that morning, and we got it started.
Yep.
And I was down there 2 or 3 times just to see how things, and the guy welding was welding, and we changed the idea right there with the wings.
Yep.
I thought I was going to be smart and just pin them, the wings back, and I thought, I'm getting too old. I'm 55 years old. I don't want to be climbing out of the cab all the time. And then I'm glad we did. That just sweet the way them fold out. So it's compact. I fill it with a underfirst seed runner. I'm going to add on to the ladder, I think, just because it's a little taller. You know, I set it down on the ground, but I had no trouble filling it. So
Good.
It is a little bit with putting 28 on and cereal rye, and if you're the cover crop seed and you're by yourself, there's a couple things you got to be doing. But most of my places I was filling up, I had enough of a lot there where I could have my cover crop sitting there and my 28, the truck. So
Yep.
it worked out. So, but
Cool.
yeah.
It's a really neat operation. We're going to shoot plenty of videos of it, and again, go out and in the field and take pictures of what it did. So,
Okay.
I really appreciate your time today.
No problem.
As we just talked about, you have enough going on. So I appreciate you taking some time out of your day today to sit down with us, because, Cody and I were talking. We're like, man, we need to go talk to him about how it worked and everything.
Well,
and,
you tried 3 times, I think, to get up here when I was side dressing. It just didn't.
Yeah.
Things weren't fit, and I'd find a field fit, and I'd run. It was just that way this spring. It was just. It was hairy. It just.
Yep.
So
I know how it goes.
Yep.
But,
So.
Well, I appreciate the time, and we had a blast recording this podcast. There's always so much to learn, and I think for you, I really like what you're doing. I think keep pushing, and everything's good. Got enough going on. So,
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.